Well, I wanted people who would grow with the company, and actually most of these guys have been with us since the beginning. Um, so it's somebody who basically would grow with the company and who sees a vision that we have for the company, which at the end of the bigger picture that we have is actually having people operating vans as a small business. So almost like a franchise. You either buy a van, we outfit it with everything, or you buy the equipment and then you run it as your business. And then for us as a company, what we do is we end up just getting a cut out of every client that your vehicle ends up washing. So that is the bigger picture. And clearly, the main people who've grown with us and who understand, what we're trying to do are basically the guys that I work with. So those will be the first people who will be able to be our first franchisees, once we get to that point. So they do see that picture, and they see where we're going with the company. Economically, and especially with the prices of fuel, we do a radius of about 15 kilometers. But we have times, where customers actually request for our services and they offer to pay for our time and fuel to actually go and provide certain services for them. And so far, the farthest place we've ever been to is Karatina. Yeah, we went there, cleaned couches, cleaned vehicles, cleaned the parking, and the client was pretty happy, to just get us there, considering that it takes about 2.5 hours to to get to that location. So we ended up missing business during that time of transit, but they were happy to quite compensate us for that, to be able to get our services. But we regularly go to see Okimau at the river once in a while, when we have quite a number of clients, asking for our services from that area. My biggest fear was people not embracing the concept. Because when it comes to when you're introducing something that is totally new, there's always that hesitancy where people are not sure, okay, are they going to do a good job? And then now we also have clients who've been used to going to a particular place. So how do we get those clients? So there was that fear that people wouldn't be able to embrace the technology that we're bringing in and the services that we are offering. And I think the fear of failure was the one thing that really kept me awake. Eventually, I figured the only thing that we needed to do was provide good services. If a client wasn't happy, then we were pretty happy to actually go back and redo the work for free until they were satisfied with the outcome of how they wanted their vehicle, or how they wanted their carpets to look, or how they wanted their couches to look, or whatever it is that we're basically doing. And that once that satisfaction from once we started getting satisfaction from clients, then at the end of the day, then we figured out what we needed to do was just mainly provide good customer service, and that basically sets us apart. We mainly import most of our stuff, like the shampoos that we use to wash the vehicles. We do buy things locally. That doesn't mean that we don't buy things locally. We do buy things like wax, tire shine. We buy those locally, and we basically source them from a supplier in town. Apart from that, so it's mainly a mix of import and local product. But it's something that we had to look at whatever works better. Like when it comes to the shampoos, we tried local shampoos, but they weren't kind of meeting our standards, and we could see the difference. So it costs us a little bit more to import shampoos, but in order to meet the satisfaction of the client, then that's something that we actually have to do. Iko sawa kabisa mpaka tire shine itakuwa 1000 eh. Sawa, asante. Sawa, wazi, eh? Sawa. Initially, what I thought, was my biggest insecurity was competition. It was, yes. Because I thought, what if, wouldn't be able to meet the demand, and by that time, when we're trying to expand, competition brings in. But then eventually I figured out, if we are concentrating on being good at what we're doing, then what is competition? I think my biggest lesson has been, you can't give up. Because, at the end of the day, there are days where, like during the rainy season, nobody's going to wash cars, when it's raining. So, you have to be able to navigate through those kind of situations, and understand that at the end of the day, there will be days, in running a business where things will seem as though they're down. But when it picks up, then at the end of the day, you just need to hammer it down and do as much as you can during that time. But there will be challenges. If you get into business thinking that there are not going to be any challenges, then you're definitely in the wrong thing, or rather trying to do the wrong thing. I've never got to the point of actually feeling like I'm giving up. I've started other businesses which are successful. So getting to that point of giving up, no. If anything, I would basically try and work as much, as hard as possible, even if I needed to sleep less hours, to try and make sure that whatever it is that I started, turns out to be successful. My biggest, and especially when it comes to work, is providing employment to young people, and who provide for their families. And I think that's actually the one thing that gives me joy, in providing, in contributing to the economy, through provision of jobs, and growing the economy in whichever little way possible that I'm doing. Was it capital intensive? Yes, in the beginning it was, because at the end of the day, it was something that hadn't been done before. I didn't know where exactly to source the materials, or even the machinery. Because, for example, now, we also have a different of, let's say, for example, like generators. If you buy a generator from the US, it has an output of 110 volts, and our power output is 240. So you basically have to figure out, what works best, and that was kind of now the challenging part of trying to figure all those things out, and seeing what works. So initially, that's how it turned out to be expensive. But now with the second vehicle, we've kind of figured out ways of lowering the costs, and eventually, as you keep on adding more vehicles, the cost will significantly go down. We will have more vehicles. We will be providing more services. Currently, we actually have a third van, that is undergoing fabrication. So I see, in the next, by the end of the year, we'll have added at least 2 more vans, because the demand for the services is actually there. And we're actually getting now to a place where we're hitting momentum. People are referring us to their friends. I would tell anyone who wants to start a business, and a business that is unique, don't listen to naysayers, don't listen to the voices out there. Just stick to whatever that you have on mind, and basically use that. Because at the end of the day, if you end up listening to people outside of your thinking or outside of your plans, then you are bound to fail. Because there's always those people who'll be like, okay, this wouldn't work in Kenya, so yeah, don't listen to those voices.